Hello Internet, welcome to something new. We're going to be playing the typing of the Dead Overkill. And before we begin, I want to stress a couple things. Number one, I have a fan running in the background. Number two, there's going to be a lot of keyboard sounds, I think, in this particular game. Part of why I'm playing this is to basically illustrate to myself, I want to know more about this new microphone that I bought. So I'm trying to record something that is going to have a lot of noise in it so that I can kind of know the limits of this microphone. So for all I know, this fan running in the background is incredibly loud. It's pretty loud to me, but I don't know how much of it is being picked up by the microphone. Similarly, we're going to play this game where I have to type constantly, and I have a very loud mechanical keyboard, and I'm curious how much of that will be picked up by this new microphone. So, and I'm really hoping that the music that is playing is not copyright protected, because there's a lot of music in this game. So we're going to jump into it. I've played this maybe once, and we're going to jump into story mode. There is a lot of profanity, and there are dirty words in this game that cannot be turned off, unfortunately. So just a fair warning, maybe don't let your kids watch, because there's some dirty stuff that pops up from time to time. And let me get my keyboard here. And we're going to skip this if possible, because I do not care about the story in the least. And we're going to jump into typing of the dead. Brains! I don't know if I have to capitalize things. I am a very fast typer, but I'm concerned I'm not going to be able to do this while I'm talking. I find it difficult to talk and type at the same time. Now, I am someone who I write a lot in my free time. So this is one of those things that I think is pretty intuitive for me, but I don't know if it's really sustainable, or if this is something that, well, it slows down time. I don't know if this is sustainable, typing and talking at the same time. I do typically, when I write, I don't talk to anyone. I've considered doing writing streams before, just to talk about character development and general tips for writing things, but I don't think that most people are really interested in such things. I think that that's something that... Oh, I didn't need the apostrophe. Well, good, because I failed to press the apostrophe. I don't know how to reload. I guess it just does that all automatically. I really like typing. It's something I got really good at when I was a teenager. I played, or not even a teenager. I think I discovered the internet when I was like 12, and I was in chat rooms a lot, which was a lot of fun. Talking to other kids my age seemed really cool. There was an anime forum, or not a forum, a chat room that I would go to, but I had never really seen anime. And most of the girls there, they would watch Sailor Moon and Cardcaptor Sakura, which are not animes for boys really. Although I did like Cardcaptor Sakura when I was like 11, because it used to be on after school. Same with Sailor Moon. Now that I'm thinking about it, when I was like 9 or 10, after school, there would be two shows I would watch. Number one was just letters, huh? Number one was, what's that show with Scott Bakula where he goes back in time? What is that show called? He would jump into bodies. It was like the original Sliders. Like, I don't know if you ever saw Sliders when you were younger. It was a TV show with the same basic principle. What was that Scott Bakula show called? Quantum Leap. It was Quantum Leap. Every day after school I would come home and watch Quantum Leap. And that show came out in like the 80s, so they're all like such wasted lives, rouser. They're very old episodes, so don't think like, oh, this guy was a teenager when freaking Quantum Leap was coming out. No, it was just on after school, and I found the show pretty interesting because there weren't a lot of sci-fi shows around back then, or even now. Jill killed Jack. What? So I would watch Quantum Leap, and then I would switch over, and Cartoon Network was relatively new. Or was it even Cartoon Network? I don't know that it was. And they would play Sailor Moon, and I would watch that a little bit as well. So I did know of anime, I just wasn't super up to date on it. But I would go in chat rooms and I would talk with these other kids, and we would play games, Haberdasher and Catnap, where we would type out our actions. You know, you see this on the internet sometimes where people will act out, you know, role play things, and that was very popular when I was a teenager. So we would do that a lot, and what I found was that the slower you typed, the less you were involved in the conversation. So like talking to people, if you wanted to, screaming, if you really wanted to talk to people, you had to be a fast typer, otherwise they would move on in the conversation, and by the time you got what you wanted to type, it would be, you know, over and it wouldn't matter anymore. So that's probably when I first started really learning to type. Hello, Biggins. Lashings of blood and gambler's fallacy. I don't know if I have to hit those apostrophes or not. Apostrophes are not an easy one for me. Once we get to hyphenated words as well, those are very difficult for me, because the hyphen is not really in a position that I've memorized, because it's pretty rare that I hyphenate words in my writing. Obviously hyphenates exist, but they're something I try to avoid as best I can. It's a head rolling down some stairs. So I was learning to try and type faster, and I didn't get particularly good at it, but this was also a time prior to microphones. So like nowadays, between jobs A. Hello, I will help you. Chocolate and flay. This was a time before everyone had a microphone, you know? People didn't really have laptops, they didn't have what are they called, webcams, they didn't have that kind of stuff, so like people communicated by text. So if you played a video game on your computer, Violent Koala, Pain So Deep, if you played a game on your computer, you needed to communicate through typing. So think back to like, I mean, it really depends on your age. For me, the game we played was Wolfenstein Enemy Territory. It was a World War II competitive shooter. Man boobs. See, it's not quite as dirty as I've seen in this game, but it gets worse. 8 Minute Mile and Squawking Magpies. Some of these words are not words I use. It's not exactly something I type on a regular basis. Dancing Queen. Okay. And they're getting longer as well. The words are getting longer. So, for me, it was Wolfenstein Enemy Territory. It was a World War II competitive shooter. It was a lot of fun, playing back and forth. It was Germany versus America, essentially. And, I really enjoyed that game. And in order to communicate with your teammates, there were quick chat options. So you could say, like, okay, I need ammo, I need whatever. You would just hit, like, V12, and it would say, okay, I need ammo, or thank you, or yes or no, or whatever. Please skip this. I don't care. I want to type the dead. This is the whole point. And what would happen in that game, because it was a first-person shooter, in order to communicate with actual text, you had to take your hands off of the typical, WASD to move. You would have to actually move your hands off of that position. So what we would do is we would sprint in that game, and then we would jump. Billy 12 chins. We would sprint and jump, and when we were in the air, we would try to type everything that we had to type very quickly before we landed. That way, you were only out of control of your character for a very short period of time. And so because of that, and because of the need to communicate sometimes, and you had to do it as quickly as possible, I learned very quickly and pretty easily to type much, much faster, because I played that game pretty competitively, basically every day after school for like 3 years. I would go and play that game, and I was, involved in a clan, and there were some global ranking things that I ranked pretty highly on. Where Are My Feet? Mortal Coil and Buttercup, and a golden record over in the corner. I don't know what that's about. Can't do stairs, probably because he's obese. And yeah, that's how I learned to type, more or less. And then you add to that I am a writer. Okay, baguette and potato. Slurp and murder. I'm familiar with that word. Grab you, din-dins, and beef. There you go, civilian. You have been rescued, my friend. Man, I'm really hoping this mic is picking me up, because I'm doing pretty great here. I don't think we've been hit once. and I do type very quickly. And then, of course, as I got older, I became more and more involved in writing. And, of course, writing just, it's basically like anything else. If you practice it every day, okay, I don't care. If you practice something every day, you get better at it naturally. So once I started writing, you know, I typed something like 130 words a minute or something like that. I don't remember. Floating. What? Floating is fun. My hands were not in the proper space on the keyboard. Give me a chance. Why? Little brother spam in chat, please. You could stop E. I didn't hit it in time. Never had a chance. J. Oh, very loud. Bang. M. I can fly. See, once you start typing a word, you can't stop typing. I don't think. Science. So when he throws things at us, we only have a few seconds because we have to finish the word we're already typing. I upgraded. In order to continue. So we're going to cycle through this again. He's going to throw more stuff at me. 2. Very easy type. What's this guy's deal? He has a big brain and long fingers? That's not very... Like House of the Dead 2 had like giant mechs type, like that giant robot dude and like all kinds of cool stuff. This is just pitiful. What kind of boss fight is this? Get whatever that is. Oh, he's fully healed. Yeah, that's more or less how I feel about it. Top. Tip. Cat. Only 2 eyes. Stripy skirt. Machines. Mind fingers. Oh, I really hate when they just jam their mind fingers all up in there. You know, it's one of those things you really need consent before you start groping me with your mind fingers. A family betrayed. It's a weird thing to say. Okay, this is stupid. Are we done with the level? Is that... It's been 12 minutes. This will be a real short video. But again, I'm only recording this more or less to determine the quality of my new microphone. So... 97.7% accuracy, so mostly that's due to when I had my hands move out of position. 1,300 letters type, 134 kills, 106 perfect words, gorgasm. Just no, I don't know what that is, but I don't want it. 3 civilians, posters found, and player 2, yeah, we don't have a player 2, okay. And it said something about unlocking a 3D model. I don't really know what the deal with that is. So let's back out here. No. Memorabilia, I think. 3D models. Yeah, let's see what this is. Probably just like the bottle caps from Resident Evil, something like that. Characters. Okay. Bosses. Okay. I mean, it said I unlocked a 3D model. I shouldn't have to pan through one at a time. This is poor menuing. You should have thought about... Oh! It's a hand cannon. I can't even rotate it? What is the point of that? Comic book. Please don't have any not safe for work stuff on your comic book. That'd be great. You'd think you'd unlock them in order. And of course there's boobs in it. So now I gotta write that down. I mean, they're not... They're censored. I think that's permissible on YouTube. I can't rotate things, which is really dumb. Anything else? I mean, this game is interesting. I think at my typing skill level, it's a little bit, you know, underwhelming. I don't care about the jukebox. Concept art is cool. I mean, I wish it would unlock in order so I didn't have to flip through a bunch of things. I mean, we're at 14 minutes. We'll go another level. I mean, there's some boobage there as well.
One day, son, but for now you're too young.
Daddy, can I be a rodent? Is that what he said? I can't. The music is so bizarre in this game. We're going to go on Agent. I don't know why it reset. Didn't I just play on Agent? Okay. And we'll do another level here. Why not? So that's how I learned to type. And of course, my skills have remained sharp over the years. So when I was in like middle school, I don't care. Skip this, please. When I was like in probably middle school, Oh, I'm not hearing gunshot sounds? Why am I not hearing gunshots anymore? Oh, there we go. Shaved, pulled my strings. Well, at least she's wearing a top, so that's something. Hopefully there's no topless anything. Bionic minstrel and straps. And in middle school they gave us typing courses. Animated man, but they weren't actually challenging or meaningful in any way. I mean, a lot of the kids already knew how to type because computers were really starting to break away as like a really common thing. Like the internet was, obviously the internet was founded way before I was in like middle school or whatever, but it was starting to become something that everyone had in their home around that time. I can't tell who's in front. I killed the wrong one. And kids were already better typists than our, because when I was in school, the teacher said that 60 words per minute is the expectations of a secretary. And so that was like the baseline. They wanted every kid, I took my hands off the keyboard, they wanted every kid to be able to type 60 words per minute. And I came in and we would do these tests and you weren't allowed to make mistakes. And I was only a good typist when I can backspace, because I type so quickly that I make mistakes and then I correct them very quickly. So if I can correct them, I actually type even faster. But in the tests, we weren't allowed to use the backspace. So a mistake was a huge loss, and it really threw me off. So when I started class, I was probably getting like 80 words a minute flawlessly. And over the course of like the next 3 years, taking various computer and business classes, they would test you regularly for your typing skills. Am I going to get to shoot something here? Fact of life. And I got better and better. And I remember, I think I was the best typist in the class, in my business class, because she would frequently, when we weren't doing business stuff or accounting stuff, we were focused on, is she alive? Why do zombies kick and talk? That doesn't make sense. Bikini together forever. Yeah, I was the best typist in the class, and we would, practice when we weren't doing like accounting and business stuff. And I think the best I ever did was 124 words per minute, and that was flawlessly without mistakes. And I still maintain that I can type a lot faster if I'm permitted to correct my mistakes as I go. So I don't really know how fast I type. Maybe we could do that on the channel sometime, take a typing test. I will say I have rusted over the years. I was much better at typing when I was a teenager, and I spent all day, every day typing and, writing and all that kind of stuff. And again, for video gaming, being able to type on the go while you were playing a game was... Oh, we got hit for once. Oh, no. That doesn't bode well for the rest of the game. But it rusts, just like anything else. Money Shot and Blood Rush. Also Throbbing was one. So we're getting into the dirtier stuff. I've seen some really dirty stuff in this game, so I don't know if that's like... maybe I did turn it off. I thought I tried to turn it off and you couldn't. I even Googled it, and they were like, yeah, that's just this particular version of the game has dirty words, and you got to deal with it. Old Fashioned, I love those. Those are my go-to alcoholic beverage. Is an Old Fashioned or a Manhattan, which people like to make fun of me for drinking Manhattans because I don't think they know what they are. Because I think people think Manhattans and they actually don't think of Manhattans. I think they think of like, what are those drinks that like the Sex and the City women like? Not margaritas, it's also an M word. Grunge, pole, double click. Manhattans are like bourbon. Like, it's just, if I remember right, it's very similar to an Old Fashioned. And those are my go-to drinks if I'm having dinner at a restaurant or something like that. And I don't write as much as I used to. I keep meaning to go back and write something, but like, it's just, it takes time, and I'm trying to do like YouTube, so I spend a lot of my time doing YouTube, and instead of focusing my energy elsewhere. Like, there's tons of stuff, like even just things around the house that I should be doing, but I spend my time focused on YouTube instead, or editing, or, you know, whatever, reading articles, things like that, trying to improve my craft, so to speak. But ultimately, I don't do things. Like today I moved a dresser around the house, and it's like something I should have done a month ago, you know. What is thalassa? I have no idea what that word means. Pretty rare you stump me on words like that. I don't know what those briefcases are either. Hello, cop zombie. Oh no! Oh no! Oh, we took a hit because I'm an idiot. I want that ship. Tell you a story. Yeah, I prioritized the wrong enemy. So there is some strategy to this. It's not just type. It's choosing the right word to select. Like these throwers, we should wait until they throw, break it, and then type out the word. Instead of taking a bottle to the face. Chewy finger and peppery. Because fingers are peppery. My throat also is giving me some trouble this evening. I did spend literally all day trying to record various mic tests. Gnostic, Demi-Urge, and Oceanus. Don't know what a Demi-Urge is. Flat tire, skin condition. What did you say? I also think we should shoot probably smaller word enemies first, but it's so hard to tell what word goes with what enemy. This slow-mo a lot of times it just seems silly. Like, I'm not even getting anything to shoot at, so that was a pointless... You know how it is. Don't get me. So it's like pointless because you get slow-mo and then you basically just slow down the cinematics. Like I hate rail shooters in general. Peanut Kernel and Soul Survivor. He tried to trick you by using the other kernel instead of, you know, a Peanuts kernel. There's your bike. Oh, good, yeah. Good move. I keep taking my hands off the keyboard between in those little cinematic moments. And I just don't care about this game at all. Release your anger. Loved one. There's another collectible. Oh, I did it again. And we took a bottle to the face. Are they heals? Because our heals are higher. Our health is higher than it was. Quacks like a duck. It's probably a duck. What a bunch of freaks. Private dances? Absolutely. Let's do this. I do know this game came with the actual shooter mode. So like instead of doing typing of the dead, you can actually play like an on-the-rails shooter with your mouse. Hello, ladies. I do not care. So is this probably a boss fight? Coco and Cindy. It looks like maybe two bosses. And one is an ample woman. Oh, look at those big old saggy. I don't know if that needs to be censored or not for YouTube. It doesn't have a nipple. Crusty cleavage. Cretinous crotch. Yep. And she's applying makeup, I guess. Hello, yes. What do we... Mesmeric mammoth. I don't know what the... Okay, carcass, crevice. These words are not fun. They're more difficult words for sure than what I have been typing. There's a large woman. Pelvic playmate. It's also a little hard to see when she just jumps around. But it seems easier than the last guy because we only have to deal with one word section at a time. We don't have to deal with them throwing things at us. Oh, was that a dodge? I guess the letter was to dodge. Okay. Fabulous fetish. Slithering siren. I'm missing some words here, unfortunately. More makeup application. Yes. Bountiful bodies. Grim grinding. I hate grinding. It's not actually dancing. It's two people humping each other, and it's embarrassing for both parties, especially as an observer. Like, I remember high school dances were not fun for this exact reason. Grimacing goblin. N to shoot the barrel there. Slidey. And another barrel. No big deal. She's like belly bumping them at us. It's interesting. Lascivious looker. I thought it said hooker, but there we go. She's dead. You never could dance. It's probably because she was about 9 feet tall and like 580 pounds, would be my guess. I feel like that would make it hard for me to dance, personally. I don't know if my ankles could handle it. Alrighty. And this is just, yeah, I don't care about this. Weird that she had the car keys in her belly button. I'm not really sure why that would ever be. 97% accuracy yet again. Way less kills. Perfect word 73. I messed up a lot more. Civilians rescued. Comics found. We'll take a look at the comics and figurines, and then we will call this episode to a close. Again, Internet, this was to test my volume levels, to test the sound of the fan in the background, see how much of that got picked up. I actually have it turned up pretty high for the purposes of that, so that may have been a droning thing in the background this whole episode, and to test the keyboard sounds and see how much this picks up my mic, my mouse and keyboards. I've already seen that one. I mean, it's a cute game. I mean, I don't hate it. The boss fights could be a little bit more engaging. They're a little straightforward, and I don't really appreciate the nudity aspect. And it's so weird that you would give an unlockable comic book, but you wouldn't unlock them in order. So, like, a player... I thought we got, like, multiple comic pages. Did we not? Okay, I'm done clicking. And we got some more 3D models. So we'll take a look at that. Like, wouldn't you unlock them in order so I don't have to click through this stupid menu? Oh, my goodness. Like... Oh, we got one. Candy stripper. What does that say? It says lick me. No, madam. I will not do that. Oh, you have a leg brace. I mean, that's cool. It's pretty rare that you see, like, why can't I rotate these models? I don't understand. Why even give me the 3D model if I can't interact with it in any way? That's cool. You rarely see people with like any kind of physical difference in a video game. Oh, and a wheelchair individual, although, or rather an individual in a wheelchair, and he appears to have a feeding, I gotta assume a feeding tube or some kind of weird tracheotomy. I'm not sure why a tracheotomy would lead anywhere. He also has a hand that appears to be skeletonized, which is odd. I don't know why we... See, and like, that's what I mean. I don't know why I unlocked that model when I don't think we saw... Unless that was the floaty guy from the first game. Okay, so she doesn't have anything here that I need to worry about censoring. So that should be fine. It is a large woman, though. I really... Why can't I rotate you? You should be rotatable. Mouse wheel does nothing. Left click moves up and down. Right click backs out. I don't know. And we'll flip through, see if we have any other models, and then we will call the episode. And now we're into weapons, so seems unlikely we will have more of those because it said character models, I believe. So, yeah, so that's going to do it. Thank you for watching. Go ahead and leave me a comment down below. If you watched all of this, I bumped my microphone. If you watched all of this, first of all, thank you. I appreciate you. You are the best viewer I have. But if you feel like doing a little bit more, let me know in the comments. How was my volume? Could you hear the fan? Is the fan too much? You know, that kind of stuff. I'll know most of that when I go to edit this video. But, you know, if you want to leave me a comment and say, oh, hey, it was particularly bad at 11 minutes or whatever, go ahead and do that. That's a lot of work, though. I don't expect you to do that. So for now, I think that's going to do it. So thank you for watching. And I will be back with more in the near future. So I'll see you next time.